Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online video with me, Sherman. Today guys, I did a video earlier and I kind of changed my mind about it and decided that I think the best way to explain it, what I'm going to be doing with builds is just come straight out and say it. So, what I've been doing a lot lately is looking at other games. I know a lot of people are going to be like, why? Like, why would you go play other games? ESO's so good. I needed a break. I really did. I needed a good long break from the game. I needed something to bring the inspiration back to me on build structures, build ideas, things like that. And with all the games I've played over the last few months, from Dark Age of Camelot to Ultima Online, World of Warcraft, EverQuest, EverQuest 2, Vanguard. Yeah, I got to play Vanguard. Warhammer Online. I'm trying to remember all the other ones that I played. Oh, Matrix. I played a little bit of Matrix. I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. But I looked at all these games, and I looked at the way that their build structure was. Even Lord of the Rings Online. And I looked at all those different things and I said, how could I take that concept and bring it to ESO to make it a viable option? Like, how would you take a Death Knight from World of Warcraft and make it in ESO? How would you take a Shadow Knight and make it in ESO? And not just one variation, but every variation. Like, how would you do that? Like, how would you make a Death Knight that was one, like the undead tank kind of thing? And so, what I did was I looked at the gear, the classes, and races, because in those other games, a lot of times you're locked into a race to a specific role, and that's for a reason. Because those races play those roles really well and all this stuff. And so I looked at all this stuff and I said, okay, now how do you put that into ESO in a way that's going to make sense, but also fit the lore, to some degree. So that's what I've been doing over the last several months, is looking at different games, looking at that build structure of their character classes, their archetypes, their subclasses, their trees, whatever. And how can you bring something like that into ESO to make it a viable option, a playable option? And so that's what I did. I looked at how can I take other ideas from other games and incorporate it here to make it an interesting, fun, viable option. So I looked at classes like the Druid, the Shamans, the Warden, not Warden, the Warden from Lord of the Rings, but and the Shadow Knight, the Death Knight, the Monk, the Thief, the Rogue, the Assassins, all these different things, and said, okay, now I want to play that, but I want to play it in ESO. But I want to make it to where I can play anything I want. Like, I want to play PvP, I want to play PvE, I want to play dungeons, I want to play trials. And so that's what I did. I looked at how can I make these builds a viable option, and then how can I, like I said, how can I incorporate it into ESO, and then give them their own names, of course, to fit the ESO premise. So I'm not just using names from other games, I'm actually giving titles or archetype names to them here, or whatever you want to call them, build names. So you guys have something to play. Now, this is something I have been playing off and on for a while, this character right here. And it's funny because like the idea for this literally came from something I did in D&D with a character type in the warlock class, and then I changed it a little bit here because I can't take exactly what's in D&D and put it here, but I basically took, you know, the warlock class where you get this you have the hexblade, and they can use melee weapons and stuff like that on the warlock. But I changed it up because I wanted it to be a hybrid character, basically, that used both magic and melee. And I came up with this character here, this build here. Now, this character I've had for a while. They originally were a night elf, a nightblade healer. Sorry, not a night elf, a dark elf nightblade healer. That used a lightning resto staff combination, used spell power cure, used, you know, different sets, and then eventually I changed them into this hybrid build to where I could play them still as a healer because that's their main focus, but then they have the ability to play solo. They have the ability to play group as both healer and DPS. And they have all these other things that they bring, but they're more of like a support character in the sense of how they work. They bring a lot of group utility and healing, but also a lot of group utility and damage. So I bring a lot of damage, I bring a lot of healing, I bring a lot of support in that setup, and a lot of that isn't reflected here. I mean, what you see here is just the basics. The main focus is my sets and my skills. And again, I don't have this character finalized yet. So, you know, in the real game, because I still have a lot of skills I want to work on unlocking and get to the place I want them before I actually show them off in their, you know, in their potential. I wanted to see how it worked on the live service versus the, you know, PTS server. So I've been playing them on the live service off and on now for a while. I need to do something real quick. There we go. This way. And this is what I've been doing a lot of the times when I play, is I get on and I just play offline. And I still group with people. I still do random dungeon groups and stuff like that. And when I do queue this character in a dungeon as a healer, I do it in normal mode, mainly because I know if I do it in veteran, a lot of people are going to get mad. So I do the normal mode. And then sometimes if the dungeon I know is an easy dungeon, I'll just queue in veteran. It doesn't matter to me. Or you know, yeah, in veteran mode, and just run it on veteran. And if people wanted to, you know, they see me as a good healer, I'll be like, okay, do you guys want to just do this on a hard mode? And if it's a classic dungeon, like base game dungeon, a lot of times people are like, yeah, let's just go ahead and do it on veteran, you know, hard mode, because you're doing fine in healing. And then move on to other things. And I do get a lot of unusual questions about this build, like, you know, how are you healing and doing damage? Like, I don't get it. Like, how are you doing that so easily? And I know this character, you know, I know the build. So, and that's what it really comes down to, and is, in the end, is what do you want to play? How do you want to play? And I take a lot of my ideas do come from other experiences I have in not only tabletop gaming, but also other online games. Like the idea for my, you know, like when I created my Death Knight builds, they were based off of the Death Knight from World of Warcraft. When I created my Shadow Knight build, it was based off the Shadow Knight from EverQuest, or even the Blood Knight off of Vanguard. You can take different characterizations from different games and create stuff here that mimics what it does there. It's not perfect. It's not an exact, thing, but you can do it. And I've always said that the more you have options for people to play, and the more viable they are, the more you're going to have people wanting to play a mixture of things in this game. And then it's just finding like-minded people to play with. That's the most challenging aspect of it. But that's pretty much what I've got going on right now is I needed something to build my mojo back, if you will, guys, on things that inspire me to bring you guys builds. From healers to damage dealers to tanks. And so I looked at other games and I said, how can I make this work here? How do I make this build work here? How do I make this build work here and here and here? And how do I get it to work in such a way that people will want to play it? So I did that. I looked at everything and I said, okay, I can make roughly about 75% of the builds I've played in other, or class things I've played in other games here. There are certain things I can't make, like I can't make a bard because we don't have the tools to make a true bard. You could, but it would take the implementations of a lot of different things, and I don't know how people would feel about that, but I'm going to try. So over the next few weeks, I'm going to be working on builds on the PTS, and then start bringing you guys those builds in. I'm going to try in a week or so. I'm going to start bringing builds to you guys. Now, you got to remember, these are builds that are primarily ideas that I have from other games. So if you guys have any suggestions on things you would like to see, comment section below, please. Go ahead and give me your inspiration. Give me some of your ideas. Tell me what you would like to see. And who knows, maybe I can make those come to fruition or make them a possibility for you. But yeah, I mean, like I've had people come to me in the past and say, hey, I really liked playing a druid in EverQuest, but I don't feel like I can do it here. Well, you can do it here. In fact, you can do it here really well if you do it right. And so I've done some looking into it, and you could actually play this character in PvE by yourself solo. You could play the character in PvE or PvP. You could play the character even in dungeons and in trials, and you would be viable as not only as a healer, but also if you wanted to as a DPS. And that comes from the game's design itself. So, like I said, if there's something you would like to see, give me some of your ideas and I'll see what I can come up with. Otherwise, I will start doing builds based on other game ideas that I can pull from, and things like that. And I'll start by doing like a tank, a healer, and this is how I'm going to release through the week: tank, healer, 2 DPS. So Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday I'll release a build. Monday, I plan on getting back into doing patch notes stuff for the PTS when that happens, and also doing some other things on Monday. And then the weekends I will not be doing any videos, primarily because that's going to be my time to relax. What I will do on Sunday, though, is I will do like I've done in the past, where I post a picture of the builds I'm going to release for the week. So you guys will get that. And so again, remember, tank, healer, 2 DPS. Every week I'll do this. And these will be not meant to work as, grouped together themselves, or not only to work grouped together themselves, but also to work in any of the group dynamics that you would like them to work in. And remember also, a build is only a representation. It's an idea. It isn't perfect. It's not rocket science. It's literally just an idea that's placed forward that allows you to see what can be done, and then from there the build has to be adjusted to your play style, because not everyone is going to like how a build is set up. They're not going to like certain sets, they're not going to like certain skills, certain CP allocations, and I'm going to use a universal CP allocation. I'm going to use I'm going to use the sets that I think fit best on the builds for me, and I'm going to use the skills I think are best suited for the builds to me. But that's what I mean by a build is only as good as the person using it and the person's understanding of it. So everyone's going to have a different understanding of skills and things that are going to differ from the person who created it. So find what works best for you and see if it works. But use builds as a template. Use builds as a starting point. And then go from there in fine-tuning your playstyle. But that's it for the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you guys know what's coming next. Go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. And also, when you do, make sure you click that notification bell to be notified when I post new videos. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day. And this guy might see you in game. Bye.